Beers and Banter, episode 49. We have Ironman and all-round Waterman TJ Hendy in the house tonight. Let's rip in.
Thanks for having me, Matt. Beers and Banter, eh?
As always, we're really appreciative of the support from the guys at Gripstar Socks. Gripstar anti-slip socks feature panels that create traction that improves speed, acceleration and stability. Gripstar socks are designed to deliver maximum comfort and flexibility, featuring a breathable mesh design that removes sweat and reduces odours. Perfect for high movement sports, working on your feet or lounging safely at home. Seriously grippy. TJ, welcome to Beers and Banter.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate.
It's we usually call this a sweaty box, but it's sort of right on the brink tonight. It's a little bit warm in here. Recording a bit earlier, but thanks for coming in.
Yeah, it's awesome to be in here. I love the setup, mate. I've looked at doing podcasts myself and looking around. I'll be grilling you later for all the different stuff I need.
Sounds good. I reckon I need a little bit of probably acoustic paneling. Wouldn't go astray, just to block out some of the road noise and maybe some new curtains at some stage. But hopefully we'll bring on a sponsor this year and get the studio fitted out properly.
The humble beginnings, eh?
I thought we'd go local tonight. I've got some of the Burley mid-tide. Let's have a look. It's a 3%er, so 0.9 of a standard drink. Just like the optimal tide conditions for perfect waves at Burley Point, our go-to ale sits right in the sweet spot. Yeah, sounds all right.
I love it.
Give it a run.
I've had probably 4 or 5 sips already and really enjoying it, actually.
So you're a local, Gold Coast local.
Yep.
Sporting capital of Australia.
Yep, absolutely.
What's the TJ Hendy story?
Mate, it's a bit different for me than most Ironmen. Obviously, grew up in a bit of a shadow of my dad, but I didn't really do the Ironman stuff or the nippers stuff. I did about 3 months worth of nippers growing up, so just loved surfing. I wanted to be a professional surfer. Grew up on Hedges Avenue and Jefferson Lane, so Mermaid Beach and Palm Beach with some of the best beach breaks around, and did a lot of surfing, which sort of put me in good stead to become an Ironman a bit later in my life. About 16, I sort of started board paddling, and it probably took me to about 20 to really have a crack at trying to make the Ironman series.
So there was a bit of a debate raging online the other day about who'd produced better nippers, whether it was New South Wales or Queensland.
Yeah.
You always assume that the Gold Coast is the capital of lifesaving because of all the people that base themselves here. But there's a lot of talent that actually comes from regional areas. But you've just broken the mould and didn't actually grow up in the system either. It was more just a love of the water and surf skills that has allowed you to transition into the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to go body surf 6-foot waves with my dad when I was 10 years old. So like things like that, I had skills in the ocean definitely. But yeah, I didn't have that background of nippers and paddling board and all that technique stuff. And I'm pretty happy I missed it, to be honest.
What's the hardest thing? Would it be ski or is it the swimming base, or what's the hardest thing now to try and bridge that gap?
Board paddling was really easy.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with that too because it's so similar to surfing. But it would have been between swimming and ski paddling for sure. Ski obviously is a challenge. You jump on it the first time and you fall off 17 times sort of thing, and you don't know how the rudder works and all that sort of stuff. And swimming's just obviously you just got to do it to get better. And I was sort of fortunate that I had like a bit of a natural skill set and speed swimming. Like I used to win the 50 free at each school champ sort of thing, like every year, and I didn't swim train ever.
Yeah.
So, but then if we did a 100 free, I was sort of like I probably would have come last. So like I think I went at 25 when I was 16 for a 50 free. And then I did try the 100, and I think I won a 128. So like that's almost 3 times. Like, well, it's probably more than 3 times. Yeah, slower. So I was just absolutely like had no back end. So
all speed, no stamina.
Yeah, and that was obviously just because I didn't have a background in swimming.
Yeah, fair enough. So, and you've just come back from Aussies. I saw some Mad Monday mayhem on your social media. But what was Aussies like this year?
Mate, for me, I've had 12 months worth of sort of not doing the sport properly. I've been injured and just been pretty much fatigued, mentally, physically, emotionally, all that sort of stuff. So I got to the semi-final of the Ironman. I was in about 7th or 8th for myself, and I was in a position to qualify for the final, and I remember like a moment where it got tough, and I just looked at that moment and went, "Oh, I can't be bothered." So that was where my Aussies was, and after that, halfway through that race, I sort of decided to just focus on the team events for the rest of the rest of the week, which obviously got me through to the Saturday, and I still got to race on the finals day, which is always nice. But different Aussies for me, and it was a very nice 3 days of partying after that.
Fair enough, and it would have been a bit of a build up there too. Obviously, Aussies didn't get to run last year with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
What was it like? It was pretty much business as usual, or were there things a bit different in the post-COVID era for the life-saving events?
It was. I think we were down probably 10 to 15% on the Aussies before that. Maybe missing a few Perth and maybe some South Australians and a few just of the Queenslanders and New South Wales crew that maybe didn't get to train the way that they would have liked to, or not as fit as they would have liked to be. But yeah, it's still great Aussies and stuff, and there's still depth and all that sort of stuff. But it was flat the whole week, and that takes a bit of the vibe out of it. But it's definitely really good to be back racing.
And was it across multiple beaches on the sunny coast? Like it's a bit different to when the whole show's at Kurrawa sort of thing? Or?
Yeah. So we had the beach sprints at Mooloolaba, and then Bodie's at Alex. Yeah, Bodie's at Alex, I believe, and then obviously the Ironman and the board races and all that, the ocean stuff out the front of Maroochydore.
And it's huge. I remember as a young fella, maybe it was like a 5 or 6 day event. Now it's like 10 days or something. Yeah,
well, they bring that youth in, the masters, all that sort of stuff. And we're talking about it. The numbers are down a little bit, so you could probably bring it back in a little bit. But it was nice to not have to race, 17 times a day, sort of thing. But
I guess brings a bit of a quality racing in that.
Yeah.
What do you think? I believe from next year under 13s will be at Aussies, and then the year after it'll be 12s. Is that right?
Oh, I'm not sure. I have no clue on that.
My understanding is that the younger kids are going to. The end goal is sort of like from under 11s up, we'll do an Aussie titles.
Yeah, wow. I don't know if I agree with that really, because I think the kids at that age are sort of pushed into competition a little bit too quick for my liking.
Yeah.
If you look at me for an example, like I didn't start competing until I was 16, 17, and I'm the coach at Surfers Paradise Surf Club, or I was for that last season. I'm just weighing up my options at this year. I want to probably really commit back to the Ironman stuff. So, but I just know for me, watching these kids, I just don't want them to run out of steam. So I want them to get to 18, 19, and I want them to be in the Ironman series and in the Nutrigrain Ironman series and in the Iron Women series, and pushing me when I'm trying to retire and stuff like that. So, I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a big call from a parent's point of view that unless your kid wins the state title or medals at state titles, say Aussies in Perth next year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm paying for my 12 or 13-year-old to go to Perth for a week.
Yeah.
Unless they're like absolutely best in the state.
Yeah, you look at that, and it's just the cost for that sort of stuff. And we were just talking before the podcast started about how good the cost for nippers and just to join a surf club and what you get out of it, how amazing it is, and it's probably one of the cheapest sports you can do.
Yeah.
And then you look at that, and it starts to change pretty quick.
Yeah, trip to Perth, and obviously you start at that age group. You're also going from a nipper board to a mal, so potentially having to start investing in skis shortly around after that. So, yes, I would 100% say that it's a great value for money sport.
Yeah,
but some of those costs do start to add up if you start to travel the countryside.
Yeah,
but so we touched on the Ironman series there. Where is the sport at professionally? We were sort of talking off air. Yeah. How many guys are doing it full time, as in they're not working another job Monday to Friday, and girls?
Yeah, well, it's super hard to gauge, I guess, because professionally to see where the sport is at, it's right now I could probably name Courtney Hancock, maybe Lana Rogers and Georgia Miller that are maybe in the girls doing it full time. And I know Georgia works a job. I don't know what Lana does, so take Georgia out of that. It must. Lana seems like she does just the Iron Woman stuff, and I know Courtney does. So And obviously Courtney's come from a pretty strong, when there was still some names, it was on live TV, and she created a good backing on that in that time.
Yes.
Then we look at the men's side, and there's probably 5 or maybe 6 of us, sort of thing. They're making enough money to get by and pay all the things that you need to pay, and it does become. We're talking about it being cheap. It becomes quite expensive to be an Ironman, to win races and to do all that sort of stuff. You got to train 3 times a day. You need a massage, physio, chiropractor. Maybe acupuncture, sleep, good diet. But not only good diet, lots and lots of food. You're probably almost paying $1,000 a week to be an Ironman. It's not cheap. It's probably about $40,000 by the end of the year, to get by.
So you're turning up really just to race.
Yeah.
And if you win, you're covering expenses, or maybe
some of the crew that in that 4 or 5 are paid by the surf clubs and have some good sponsors and incentives and Nutrigrain ambassadors and stuff like that. So there is a pathway to make money in our sport, and I think when you're winning, you can make quite a lot, and you can quickly, save for a house with, you win a Coolangatta Gold, you've almost got a house deposit or a unit deposit or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've watched, Bevy owns a unit, Ali owns a couple of houses, things like that. So people obviously do all right, and they've obviously got partners and stuff that help in that area, but you can do well out of it, but it's not 15, 20 guys that are making money out of it.
For the sport to be really competitive and unpredictable, you probably need 10 to 15 guys and girls to be, full time at it.
Yeah.
So back in the old days, you didn't know who was going to win.
Yeah.
Well, there was a fair chance you knew, but there was 10 to 15 guys pushing very hard, and depending on the conditions, different guys thrived in the big surf, and if we go back to the older eras, you have guys like Scotty Reeves and guys that probably weren't the pinnacle household names, but they could push for a victory on any given weekend depending on the conditions.
Yeah.
So I think, and then Shannon come in and just dominated the sport. Sort of once Zane had retired and Kai had retired.
Yeah.
No one really could go with Shannon.
No.
And was that because they were the last couple of guys that were really full timers?
Well, you look at it, right, and I think those guys back then were probably earning as much money as I am right now, and that money would be worth 3 times as the amount.
Yes.
So they were killing it. They were making a lot of money, and they were probably ranked to about 15th, I reckon, 15th, 20th. There was about 30 guys in the series, and for people to say 30 guys were making money, I don't think that's quite right, but. Yeah. There's definitely, 10, 15, 20 guys that were really making some money and being able to do what they wanted to, travel, pay all the bills, all that sort of stuff with Ironman. And then you had Kai Hurst come through, and he was the next big thing, and he would have been probably the best Ironman of all time if it wasn't for his Olympic dream, I reckon. Yeah. So he obviously missed a few Australian titles and Nutrigrain series and stuff through that. And then Zane Holmes... Shannon was only a couple of years after them that he, I think, started, got into the Opens. And from the get-go, he was the guy I think he was the best, but he wasn't winning straight away. He was breaking away, all that sort of stuff, and sort of, I think, toweling them up, but without the good luck and good karma for some reason.
Yeah.
But it was Shannon's last probably 6 years that he just went to the next level. And I think it was because... obviously accumulating years and miles under the tank sort of thing, but I think having that backing and sponsorship and obviously making a name for yourself and being financially stable at the end of his career probably meant a lot for him. And then now it's only really, you've had Kendrick, Ali, and the 2 Matts. Yeah, and between those guys they've sort of shared it. There's not been a guy that's sort of really stood out until Ali this year, and he dominated before he broke his wrists as well. So it's 2 years in succession for him that he's sort of dominated. But I think to be able to go with those blokes and Shannon and stuff, you can't expect the guys that are earning 10, 15 grand out of the sport to beat Shannon consistently.
So me and my mates, when we're sitting around, we're always trying to work out, well, how do we get Surf Lifesaving and obviously the professional series tied to that back to the glory days? And as it, back then, essentially the serial wars, people used to say it was bad for the sport because it divided our athletes and all that sort of thing. But to me, it was probably what showed is that when one fell away, there was less money being injected into the athletes. So is that what we need? A rival competition, do you think, or not run by Surf Lifesaving, or it should be owned by Surf Lifesaving, and they need to get back to, see, I'm a beachy, and all my mates will laugh, but I think when Nutrigrain used to do a full carnival on their weekends, so they'd have the beach flags, they'd have the boats, they'd have and they'd have all the events. I thought that was really good viewing, and it was the full life-saving story. But I'm interested to know what you think the sport could do, or what it needs to really get back to those prime time. Like, we watched a lot of the kids on Facebook live streams, which was great this year. But for Aussies in the Ironman final, like, that should be prime time, Channel 9, Channel 10, or Fox Sports or something. How do we get back there?
Yeah, it's a great question, and obviously not really anyone's had the answer or the willingness to actually go and do it just yet. But I actually do feel like the crew that are looking after it now are having a red hot crack. I did hear some really positive things coming, and then obviously COVID hit, and I thought we were going to do 6 rounds again, Portsy be back in the frame, even just a simple thing as, I thought we were going to all have separate colours in the series, which obviously in the Nutrigrain series it happened when I think it was Guy Leach was running the series with a guy named Basil, probably almost 10 years ago now, and everyone had, in the top 10, had their own colour, and then the bottom 10 had white with their own colour, so white with just like a little patch of their own colour, so you're really identified quite easy. Little things like that make a big difference, but then what's really challenging for our sport and for every sport at the moment is that you've got so much competition. Netflix, Amazon, Binge, all these things, Foxtel, everything, Xbox, PlayStation, all of that. Even just how easy it is, well, not the last little bit, but easy it is to travel. People would go overseas so easily, and they weren't so stuck on their couch on a Sunday all the time. They can go do all these other things, or go to I just think mobile phones and things like that take away from free-to-air TV a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's one part, and then I think obviously you want to create something for a kid to believe that they can do it as a profession, and their parents to feel like they're actually chasing something worthwhile. So
that's a great call, to be honest.
Yeah, cash injection is one of the big ones, and I think maybe we're getting a bit closer there, and Surf Lifesaving putting a bit of money in there has been helpful. And I think we went from this year from $3,000 for a round win to $5,000. A few things changed up, so that went up a little bit. And then Coolangatta Gold, you can still earn a little bit of money, but I think I think the biggest problem is trying to create these guys to be heroes again. Myself and everyone else to be heroes. And what they used to say to me is the girls wanted to be with my dad, and the guys wanted to be my dad, So if we can get that happening for the Ironman, then that will go a long way to helping, I think. But, I think it's only AFL in this country that's really, really doing well. Like NRL has its moments, and it's obviously a great sport and stuff, but they've been in trouble for making fake noises in the crowd and stuff before COVID. So, different things like that. And then they've got big deals and stuff, but AFL just has crowds all the time when, obviously, other than COVID, but it's just maybe it's just a hard time to really, really succeed as a sport.
That's a good call.
But I see where we can make people want to watch us is big waves.
So I was going to say, you mentioned Portsy there before. is it hard for someone like yourself, who, like you said, you've been body surfing 6 foot waves since you were 10-year-old,
Yeah.
but then you got to turn up at Noosa or Maroochydore and it's a mill pond,
Yeah.
versus what it used to be like at Portsea and Piha and just like monster waves.
Yeah. It's
I know it's I would never go out in that surf. I was hopeless,
Yeah.
but that's what as a spectator we want to see the carnage. We want to see the ski like shooting off in the air, and because that makes it unpredictable. But if like you say, if it's flat, you know who's going to win.
Yeah.
Because it's just a straight up, who's the fastest as opposed to who's the most skilled. And
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've had a year where the surf's been flat for pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
We had one round where it was as big as it's been for one race where it was as big as it's been for years, and that was the Shaw and Partners Shannon Eckstein Classic, and so that had $20,000 on it for the win, and the energy that day was massive. It was amazing. The Ironman final and the Ironwoman final were the two things that everyone was down there for, and all the races before that were being held in the gutter because it was so big and so dangerous, and it was, insurance-wise and all that sort of stuff. And then they threw us out the back just to make sure that spectator-wise it was amazing and that it was worth them having that $20,000 on that race and making sure it was a spectacle. So holding periods, all that sort of stuff for a Nutrigrain series, maybe we hold for a week and we look for the biggest swell or the windiest or something like that, and go to those beaches like Portsea, Piha, things like that, Surfers Paradise, even Bondi, things like that. They all get lots of swell. So, I think that's important. And then, cash injection. But, we've got to go to schools again. We've got to get into schools and teach surf safety and teach them who we are as Ironmen and actually show our face, especially if we're in Victoria and stuff like that.
You mentioned AFL before, so that you're basically swearing at me when you were bagging the NRL.
Yeah.
No, diehard NRL fan.
Yeah.
My kids did Auskick long before and have no interest in NRL, but they did Auskick at school because it was the AFL had put money into it.
Yeah.
You paid $20, you got a backpack, a footy, and a drink bottle or whatever it was, and they did it straight after school.
Yeah.
So definitely the big organisations are investing a lot of money at the school level to get the kids interested in their sport.
Sure.
And I know it's hard. I think that lifesaving is the most Australian sport there is.
Yeah.
But I always think, unless you live more than 20 k's from the coast, and then you've probably got zero interest in it. And growing up on the Gold Coast, I've obviously got a slanted view on that. But long before I was involved in lifesaving, I knew about the Uncle Toby's Ironman and you'd go and watch races and stuff long before I even knew what lifesaving was. So, I definitely at that entry level, we've got to do more with our nippers. I remember coming back, we were down at a carnival for the nippers down at Coolangatta, and I'm driving back through Burleigh and I realised the Nutrigrain's on. It's like, how bad's that for planning? Yeah. We've got the big, we've got the circus in town, the big shows in town. Yeah. And when we put a nipper carnival on the same day, 10 k's down the road. It's like,
it's strange.
When Nutrigrain comes to town, we should be getting all the local nipper clubs. Yeah. I don't know if they're doing a march past or what they're doing, but they're all there in their club colours representing their club to watch the best in the business go round, is my opinion. That's how you get those kids really frothing.
Yeah, and I think, even we're at Kingscliff and they put, they told us that we were no spectators for that couple of weeks and stuff like that, but people were there and things like that. Kingscliff is, 20 minutes from most clubs on the Gold Coast, maybe 30 minutes from Surfers Paradise, 40 minutes from Surfers Paradise sort of thing. You get all those kids down there and you get them watching and stuff like that, and say there is a wave on, and they go, oh my God, and they get to see a ski shoot in the air and all that sort of stuff. That's stuff that they'll remember. And I feel like, planning's one thing. You can't have a nipper carnival on those days. And I think if your nippers is on that Sunday morning or whatever, finish at 10 o'clock and grab a club bus. Yeah. And drive it to the Nutrigrain race or round, or if it is within an hour, because it's so worth it for those kids. And it just gets to show, especially if you have an Iron Man or an Iron Woman in your club, it just gets to show the kids who they are and what they actually do.
I think obviously safety is important, and particularly at our state titles and our Aussie titles, safety should be paramount, particularly with the history we've had.
Yeah.
But when you look at our best of the best, I think we could probably let them go out in some bigger surf and really show that these are the guys and girls that are going to go out in that rough seas. I'm sure you do patrols. It's part of the movement. These are the people that are coming out to rescue the public when shit goes south. So let's let them show off their skills once in a while, particularly the best in the best.
Yeah, that's I've actually thought about that a few times, and I've wondered, why it hasn't happened, and there must be a reason that it's not as simple as it is in my mind. But say you're in an Australian Ironman and Iron Woman semi-final, you're in the Opens semi-finals, and the surf gets massive. There's only 72 people right there. It's 32, so 64 people that need to sign off their life pretty much to say, I'm willing to go out in this. And if they don't sign it, they can't compete in the semi-final, and I'm pretty sure 64 of them will sign it, most of the time. And I wouldn't even say anyone, if they pulled out, I wouldn't say, you're a pussy or whatever. I wouldn't say that. I would just be like,
It's their call.
It's their call. But at least we wouldn't have to go, get moved to a lake or get cancelled or something like that. And for us, that's another hard reason why it hasn't been able to be fully professional, and it's probably not in the glory days and all that sort of stuff. Is imagine being a professional at whatever you do, and every time you go to the pinnacle, it gets cancelled or might get called off or something like that.
Yeah,
that's really challenging. I've done 10 years of this sport competitively, and I think I've had four Australian titles cancelled.
Really?
Yeah.
Due to surf or COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Cancelled or pretty much moved. Yeah, there was at least 3 cancelled, and maybe a 4th.
I would say there is one thing that I would do. I would have a flat water or closed water event.
Yeah.
In a stadium type arrangement with some of these wave pools.
Yeah.
We had it was just the little kids, but we had a carnival at the Evandale Lake at Bundall for branch titles because surf was too big. They moved it. And I was like, obviously for the kids that have got good surf skills, it's not where they want to be.
Yeah.
And it's not the great place. But one of the hard things about our sport is it's not a great spectator sport.
Yeah.
Because once a swimmer, does the first couple of dolphin dives, you don't really see them again until they come down the face of a wave. I think there's room for like one closed water event where you get that amphitheatre style.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Where you can see the whole race and you can see the whole thing. So I think there's room for that. But overall, I think we need to let our best in the sport really show what they can do in the surf.
Do that the wave pool at in Melbourne. Do that on the Saturday and Portsea on the Sunday or something like that.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And funny you're just saying that about spectators when they're going into the swimming and you can't see them and stuff. I fully understand that. So it's like it's something that not many people know that happened, but I know that the Ocean 6, when they took over the Nutrigrain series, and that was more of a carnival setup sort of thing.
Yeah.
Trent, who was running that, really wanted to never have swim first or last.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so you always put swim in the middle.
Because you lose people's interest?
Yeah, for TV and for when they were going for KO and Fox and stuff like that. It just looks so much better if 2 people are coming in on a board or a ski wave and about to sprint up the beach.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Can we take a left turn?
Yep.
I saw on social media the other day you're going to become a dad.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You'll know you're alive now.
Yeah, 100%.
If you thought you were busy and it was hard to get up for training,
yeah,
wait till you haven't had any sleep.
I think it's going to be easier to get up for training now because I'll be running out of the house trying to get some rest from a screaming child.
So I wanted to ask you a question. Now that you're becoming a dad, would you trade the board rescue title that you won with your dad for an Australian title or a Nutrigrain title, Ironman?
No, not at all. No.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. No one else has done what we've done. So until they do, maybe I'd think about it then when someone else can do it. But for now, while we've created that moment and no one else has been able to show that they can do it, then yeah, I'll leave that one.
No, I love that answer. I definitely don't think you'd
No, I
trade
probably
that for
never
a-
would either. I was just joking anyway.
One of the greatest sports stories I've seen, I reckon, was the day that I saw that that you had won that together.
Oh,
I'm gonna
I
try.
still get butterflies when I watch it too, and like almost like get nervous watching it, hoping that it's actually still real and I wasn't just dreaming it.
just in case the result changes,
Yeah,
or it drops,
yeah.
someone drops a handle or something like
I'm
that.
in an alternate reality where I didn't win it. It's just somehow woke up into an alternate reality.
I haven't got any questions on the Insta. That was a bit of a fail. So I'm going to throw a couple more at you. I'll do my big three questions that I finish every pod with, but interests away from Surf Lifesaving is what I'm interested in. What do you do? So you've had Aussies, you've had Mad Monday. Where are you at? What are you doing now for the next couple of months?
So I touched on it before. I had a 12 months worth of not really participating that well in the sport, and I was sort of the only reason I even did the professional series, the Nutrigrain series, was I was hoping that there was going to be some waves.
Yep.
But I raced usually at about 80 to 82 kilos.
Yep.
And I didn't race pretty much under 87, 88 this year, and I'm sitting at about 90 now. So what I'm doing right now is preparing my motivation to lose that weight.
Yep.
And to train my butt off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Try to bring the spirit up, bring the energy up. I feel super motivated at the moment. So I'm just get my back sorted, which was where I was injured, and I really at the moment the way I feel about next season is super exciting.
Yeah, awesome. That's really good. I noticed you're watching a bit of UFC.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite fighter in the UFC?
I just love when Connor's fighting, but he's not my favourite fighter. I just love to watch him because of obviously what he brings and all that sort of stuff. Last week, obviously, Jorge Masvidal got knocked out pretty quickly as well, and he's another guy that brings a lot of the trash talk and a bit of banter and stuff like that. So, but at the moment, I really, really like. I'm liking Usman, and I'm liking Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
And then Francis Ngannou as well.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary man.
But I love Max Holloway. I reckon I'll meet Max as well because his partner is Alessa Quizon, and she's best friends with Carissa Moore, who's one of my good friends in the surfing. So
nice.
Next time I go over to Hawaii, I'm going to really be pushing to get Carissa to go over to Alessa's and take me with her. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, Max is a legend. I've decided I'm not getting behind any fighters anymore because as soon as I get behind someone, they get knocked out. Like I got on the hype train when Masvidal knocked out Askren, and then he beat Till.
Yeah.
And then he beat Diaz, and I was like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And then he stepped in on short notice against Usman. I was like, oh well, he only had a week to prepare, but after that last beating, it's hard to deny Usman as one of the pound for pound at the moment. Yeah,
I really struggle with that idea of Habib being the best ever as well and the greatest of all time. I really don't think that he is, and I think he didn't hold the title for 10 fights and all that sort of stuff. I understand John Jones has had his tests had some tests come back positive and all that sort of stuff and been banned for a few years, but I still think guys like
most of John's problems was his partying as opposed to his performance enhancements.
Yeah. But guys like Anderson Silva and George St. Pierre, even Conor McGregor and people that have done stuff, I still put them in front of Khabib. I think Khabib's been the most dominant fighter in his fights, but I don't think he's the best, and you can call him the best. He's gone missing now, and it doesn't want to ever get beaten. But I'd love to see him get beaten and see how he returned. Yeah,
he really. It was weird. Like, is it Al Iaquinta or whatever?
Yeah.
Took him to 5 rounds, and then you see, what he did to Conor, and it's just too. The wrestling thing just becomes too much. Like they just pin him down and wrestle, but he also clipped Conor though too, and which was I wanted to see that run back, just to see whether the striking could have changed when he was less focused on the wrestling. But I don't know, it's hard to. I think it's a sport again I know nothing about other than I enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
And I think I enjoy the credibility in that. you think, oh, this guy's the out and out champ. He can't be beaten. The next minute they're putting the strap around a new guy.
Yeah.
And then you've seen it in the heavyweights. Heavyweights notoriously can only hold that strap for 2 to 3 fights. Like Stipe was the GOAT because he'd defended his title 3 times.
Yeah.
And now Francis has gone it, and you've got John Jones just bulking
to get there, and there's I think Derek Lewis really wants to fight him, and
they had a fight and it was a bit of a non-event because I guess they both had too much respect for the other person's power and didn't want to trade.
And then you got in the boxing, you got Tyson Fury calling out Francis to fight him in the next year or so.
I'd watch that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Andy Ruiz got a bit of a lucky decision apparently yesterday too.
I didn't see it.
I don't know who he was fighting, but a fix might have been in on that one, but who knows?
That's the problem with boxing now. Is like, and boxing always is you just never know who's been asked to pull the pin early.
I love Tyson Fury, but even there was a fight there a while ago that if he wasn't paying for the full promotion, they would have stopped. He had a gash above his eye the size of a 50-cent piece.
Yeah,
they just kept jamming the Vaseline in there, letting it go. But anyone else the fight stopped. But there's too many. I know that there's multiple MMA organisations, but the UFC are obviously the pinnacle. And if you're in that organisation, the best fight the best. Whereas what we see in boxing is that people get into aligned with different promoters or different
I
channels.
can't even keep up with it.
Yeah,
and there's so many weight classes.
Yeah,
so many.
So it gets to the point where you may not get the best fights just because they're on different.
Yeah.
They're different promoters or different. One's with HBO and one's with Showtime or ESPN or whatever it might be, or DAZN or whoever it is. But I think boxing fans get jibbed a little bit there from some of those big fights. But
imagine if in Ironman we had weight classes.
Weight classes.
That'd be hilarious. I'd be racing Matt Poole, Ben Carberry, maybe James Lacey and Jackson Maynard. I can't really think of any other big guys. And then, right now I'd be racing them. And then once I got lean again, I'd be back down racing Bevy and Ali and stuff like that.
That might be good for me though, because I'd only have to race guys over 110 kilos. That'd be nice. Hey, I've got 3 questions to finish on. We ask all of our special guests a bit of a rapid fire. Are you ready for them?
Yeah.
Favorite place in the world for a beer?
Favorite place in the world for a beer. To be honest, I reckon just simply Surfers Paradise Surf Club on a Friday afternoon.
Have you been to North Burleigh?
Yeah, but I think actually when I was growing up. Schoolies when we were like 18, we used to just sit there and have a beer watching all the schoolies come past and stuff like that. And sort of, probably a year later, and some of the Melbourne girls would be 18, and we'd just be like throwing a bit of chat and stuff like that. But I can't do that now.
Fair enough. Second question: favorite athlete of all time. So it doesn't have to be the best or the greatest in their sport, but your favorite athlete of all time.
Yeah, for sure. I love Kelly Slater.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe throw a Tiger Woods in there and a Michael Jordan and stuff. But Kelly's pretty cool.
Save them for the next question. I've got the last question. Any 4 people over for a beer and some barbecue?
Yep.
From history?
Yep.
Alive or dead? Who's coming and what are you cooking?
All right. So Will Ferrell.
Yes.
Will Ferrell. I'd have to throw old mate. What is it? John C. Reilly's the Step Brothers from Step Brothers. Is it John C. Reilly?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those 2 would have to be at the table together, and then maybe Michael Jordan and Conor McGregor.
Solid. That's a solid 4. What are you cooking for them?
I'm cooking. I can't cook that well, so they're going to be let down. But at least they'll all be having a fair bit of a laugh, I'd imagine. But I reckon I'll just have to go a steak on the barbie and maybe some sausages and stuff like that, and something pretty simple.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
actually, I reckon I'd get rid of Michael Jordan and throw like a
brush him.
Yeah, I'd throw like a a singer or something, maybe a Justin Timberlake.
Justin, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I like it.
Just to throw something different in there.
Hey, you've been a great guest. Thank you very much. Where can people find you online?
Just mainly Instagram, TJ Hendy. That's pretty simple, and yeah, I only really do Instagram, so a little bit on Facebook, but yeah.
All right. To thank you for coming on, we've got
Thanks for having me.
Beers and Banter snapback there.
Awesome.
We've also got a pair of Gripstar socks. Now, the boys at Gripstar look after our pod a little bit.
Yep.
On
Cool.
your road to drop that weight, you're going to need these socks.
All right.
They increase your performance. They stop your foot moving around in your running shoe.
Nice.
They're basically my everyday sock now, but
Cool.
that's from the boys at Gripstar.
Thank you, Gripstar.
And really appreciate you coming in. And, yeah, we'll see you all soon. Hey, people, you know what to do. Follow, like, share. Really helps us out. And leave a comment is even better.
And enjoy a beer.
Cheers.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.